Welcome YouTube, welcome Twitch. We're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to step into a little bit of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I'm going to be looking at something that was doing on setting up basically some cars. So in the description you would find some videos, well, a link to a video from Aris Drives, who goes through some really good stuff on ACC car setup and explaining some of the technical details and things like that. So I'm kind of watching along his series, and then as a way for me to understand more, I always think it's good to be able to jump into stuff and go, yeah, okay, if you can explain what you're trying to do as you're doing it to somebody else from something that you're trying to learn yourself, it can make you better. So don't take everything I'm doing here as really great or anything else like that. Have a look at what Aris Drives does, and coincidentally I think he's basically on the Kunos forums and is one of the developers at Kunos, so that gives him a lot more authority than myself. But I've been watching along with some of the things that he's been doing to explain how to do car setup, and I'm going to try and do some of that here myself as well, so that I have a better understanding of the game. Now, I know obviously ACC in VR still has some other issues and setups, but I'm not going into that today. All I'm going to go into is actually the game itself. So there you go. Anyhow, if you like the stream, then hopefully press subscribes. Still want to get to the 1000k. We're going to be doing something a little bit different later on as well, because I will be over on Gamertag's channel for the VR link. So we've only got a couple of hours here until I've got to get ready for the other stream tonight. But let's jump in and get the game started. So let's start this up. Oh, there we go. Launch into that mode. Play. So we'll say goodbye to my Oculus home, which you can see around me here. And we're going to jump into Assetto Corsa Competizione. Like I said, if you feel like hitting that subscribe button, please go ahead. If you've got any questions, please ask down below, and I'll try to answer any questions I can. The stream goes on a bit. I'll try and put some timestamps in here at some point later on. Also, if you are thinking about buying The Walking Dead or anything that's coming out, Saints and Sinners, there's a link down below. If you want to help the channel out, then please, if you're going to buy anyway, use the link, and that will give me a bit of a percentage of that and help the channel out a little. Right. It's always very exciting, this intro. Okay. How are people today? Hopefully people are well when people join me in here at some point. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and do a preparation for a single race, for a single endurance race. All right, dude. Cool. This is, of course, Lincoln Clay, the second best looking man in my stream at the moment because he's not on camera. If he was, then he'd be the legendary person in my stream. That happens. That's what he does. Right. Right, so we can do that, but go check out Lincoln's channel as well. He's got some cool stuff there, and obviously he's a fellow member of the VR Link, which we'll be doing later. So you should hopefully be able to see and hear everything okay. We're going to be doing a particular type of race, so I'll show you what we're going to set up here. I've got a sprint race weekend set up. I've got 2 practice lengths and 2 qualifying lengths set up, and I've got race lengths set up. You're welcome, Lincoln. Our opponents count is going to be 20, so it's not too many people on the track, but it's enough. The opponent skill, I'm not that good, so I've only got that at 88. And the aggressiveness at 80. So that's where that is in that. What we're going to take a look at is then, I'm going to do Spa. The video link that I was saying down in the description was actually taking on the Nuremberg ring with a Ferrari for setup. I'm going to be trying Spa instead of the Nuremberg ring. And I'm going to be using a bit more of a difficult car, actually. I like Lamborghinis in general, but they are very, very twitchy and hard to handle. And we're going to be taking this not flashy at all car out there. Let's open that door. We're going to be taking this not very flashy at all. We'll open the other door as well, and we'll put the lights on and put the indicators on and the rain light on. There we go. So yeah, not very flashy looking at all car. Yes, it's damn flashy, isn't it? But we're going to be racing this bad boy and trying to set this thing up so that I can get around the track and drive in a style that seems manageable to me. And that's going to be a challenge in itself because it is a wild child car. Right. And the first thing we're going to do there, oh, by the way, the weather, of course, is clear. There's no weather track changes there. We're going to start, actually, I've got time of day in here. Weather, track conditions. Where's the time of day? No, it's just going to go at the time of day that it is kind of around now, so, and we're doing it in real time, so that's okay. That's okay. Right. Oh, important thing. This is almost at the pro level, so I've got a damage rate of 100. This is important because this means that all of the tires, car, the suspension, or everything that can happen with this can happen to it. So it's as real as it gets for a simulation. And this is going to be different to me because I've normally raced it with all of a lot of that turned off. I have turned the penalties off because that's just going to be far too much. We've got the brake temperature on as well. Important thing to note here basically is, again, damage rate 100. I've got my fuel consumption is actually enabled and my tire set is limited. So that's going to go with the number of tyres that I'm allowed in a race, an actual race, which I think is 5 sets of tyres. So we're going to confirm that. Right, I'm going to start there. So what I'm trying to do here is set down a methodology for me to go out and race on and approach the car setup with. So what have we got here? We've got map, EPS, TC. Okay. So we're going to take a look at our setup. I've started with an aggressive pre-setup here, which is basically there. It's all in. That's what it is. I'm going to save that straight away. This is a clean spot here, and that's what I'm saving everything to. So we are now at the default of what an aggressive setup is. Let's take a look at it. First thing we're going to look at, I'm not going to touch anything here first of all. We're going to look at tyres, tyre pressure. Just going to work that out for this track. So it is important that you are familiar with the track, with your different braking points, your turn-in points, things like that. If you're not familiar with the track, not familiar with what you are comfortable with in terms of braking points, turn-in points, and all of that stuff, don't go to this bit yet. Go find out where the track layout is, familiarize yourself with the track and all of your reference points for your braking zones and your turn-in points and all that sort of thing, because it's not going to help you if you are still just getting a rough idea for the track. You want to know a bit about the track at least. I'm leaving everything basically here as it was, and we're going to go and take a look at a couple of things first. But the first thing is our tyres and tyre pressure. So we want to get these consistent as possible into an operating range, get them up to temperature, see what happens to those temperatures and those pressures as I go round and as the wear runs on, because the first sort of like 2-3 laps, these tires are going to be absolutely optimal. Then they're going to drop down a bit in what they drive like, and then they'll be sort of like stabilize out a bit more until they just gradually wear down more and more as we go down. So you'll see all that. So we're on tire set 1, and every single time I'm going to come back in here and we're going to make changes and things like that. So we're going to do that. Let's get on with that, shall we? Right, drive.
Green light, go, go, go.
You want our pit limiter on? Car is started up. It's all good. I want to reset my view here a second. But feel a little bit low. That's okay. Yeah, I am. Should be this one. Basically, I need to reset this view. Let me just reset this view a second. There we go. That's maybe a bit too close now. Whoa! Yeah, that's now off to the angle a bit. Sure, it's this one. Come on. Okay, we're going to get started. That's just slightly off. Let me get this right. It's always important to actually have the view good. Yeah, that's better. A little bit better there. Right, let's go.
Low tire pressure. Stay clear of the curbs.
So, as you can see, we've got my dry one set on down there. And there are starting pressures. And my brakes are cold too. Oh, I thought we're not out of there yet. I forgot this is Spa, the longest pit in the world. I'm glad I don't have penalties turned on, otherwise I would have had a penalty. There you go, I am disqualified. Oops. I should maybe hit restart. Oops. I got disqualified for over the pit. Remember where your pit lanes are, people. Right, okay, that's going to start that up. Traction control. ABS 4, traction control is 5. Let's turn the traction control down to 4. And we'll keep it there. I'm pushing myself a bit on that. Right. But basically, the first thing I've got to do is get the tyres and the brakes up to operating speed. Always got to remember, this is Spa and this is the longest pit stop area ever. Because they've got that pit up there and then we've got all of this pit here. And then you get out of there. So in the middle of the race, this pit stop makes one hell of a difference. Okay, and we're out. So, like I said, first lap. This is just going to be about getting the tires up to temperature. So, I'm actually going to take it a bit up, a bit easy if I can. And what I'm aiming at is seeing what the car temperatures, tire temperatures do around here, and I'm off the track already. So good sort of temperatures we want to be looking at is about 26.5 to 27.5, somewhere around that sort of area is where we're trying to look at. And we want them to be even across the board. And when we get that, we're then going to look at some other things of behavior of the car. So this first lap is going to be, you know, all cold. Gonna take it a little easy here. Easier than I normally would. Try and push that normally. Okay. We're going to try and basically gauge the characteristics of the car. We kind of want it in that region where it's going to be, you know, manageable around the corners here. So I can feel where there's like understeer, oversteer, areas like that. So we're going to gradually, hopefully, pick up the speeds a bit. Not too aggressive, but I want to get in within sort of like some parameters here. I want it manageable. So ideally, for any car setup that I'm going to do around here, I basically want to get it so that if I'm coasting around a corner, if I've approached a corner properly, and then I go to lift off the gas, that I'm still going to have the grip that I need to get around nicely. Let's just creep up behind him, see if we can't get some clean air here.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
That's better. Yeah, that feels quite nice. Hey, Vidid. So we're going to see how our tire pressures are lining up. They're pretty even, actually. They're really even. Gonna lift a bit there. I am using a Quest at the moment via the Quest Link. Start to push it a little bit. Of course, the point of setups as well is that you could say a car was a good setup, but a good setup for me could be a terrible setup for somebody else. And what's a terrible setup for somebody else could be a good setup for me. So oh, the Quest is a great headset. It is unfortunately front heavy. It's not as comfy as a PSVR, but its capabilities are really, really good. And of course it allows you to get into some other things here. Right. See how we're doing on these. We're starting to get a little bit more into the groove there. That's correct. It is a standalone one, which I'm actually using the Quest Link here. Yeah, screen-wise, I'm gonna go around. Whoa! That's why you shouldn't use mobile phones while driving, people. or rely on stuff up there. No, this is not the official Link cable. This is a Amazon's Basics cable with a little bit of an extension on there. Right, so we're going to take one more lap and we're going to come in. I almost got it to spin there. It's very much on the edge, this car. I'll have to check your name in a bit. I couldn't hear your name too well there, I'm afraid. Let me turn you guys up a bit. The pedals are G29 pedals, but they are put through a Leo Bodner cable. So instead of the 8-bit output range that they have when plugged into a normal bass, they actually have a 10-bit resolution. So they have quadruple the resolution of normal pedals, by the way. So highly recommend people do that. There is a video on my channel that sort of like goes through what I've got set up there. Okay, we're coming into the pits here. I'm going to actually come into the pits to get used to coming into the pits, and I want to make sure that I have my limiter on. So I can't go, there's my pit lane there. So I want to make sure that I do come into the limiter. Yes. Right, so we're going to pause it out here. And I'm going to return to the garage. Let's see who we've got. WMP. I can't RPM, sorry. But welcome back. It's good to have you if you haven't joined for a good few months. Great to see you here. Yeah, a cable does make a big difference with the G29. When you plug in the G29 pedals into the normal G29, it has a couple of things with it. First of all, it only uses an 8-bit resolution. So the steps that it registers for each pedal is only, what is it, 240 something odd steps. And it also has a very high curve. So when you push down on the brake in particular, you've got this short range here, and then you have that rubber stop. And through the rubber stop portion, there is software in the G29 that puts some other stuff in there. Yeah. Oh, damn, they're calling. Right, I'm going to say return to garage. I'm going to look at my setup. And in my current setup, I've now got what was going on with my tires. Now, they've been cooling a bit, but we can see already that I am using Oculus Quest plus Oculus Link. So we're actually running a little bit colder than I actually wanted at the moment. So we're actually going to up these by about 0.5 each. That's going to be yeah, I do have a real lot of YouTube videos. You can go over those in your spare time. There's a lot of different things there. Obviously, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube because that would be really great and help me out in the long run with running a channel. Okay, so I've put my temperatures up slightly. We want to keep them a bit even. So we're going to run that 2 more stops here on the left. Make that 4 more. And then 2 on this side. It has been a while. That is a long time ago. Yeah, we're over 800 now. So over double that on there. Track temperature at the moment is 28 degrees C. Sorry, temperature is 28, track is 31 degrees. I want the tires to be running at about 27.5 in general. We're going to get back out there. Oh, before you do anything as well, oops, back. With this setup, make sure that we go back to tire set 1. Every single time we come into the pit, make sure I'm on tire set 1. Yeah? Because I want to make sure that everything I change here relates out to what we're running on track. So we're going to go back out there. And we're going to continue. Exactly. We're trying to get in sort of like a good range, so they should be somewhere in that sort of like 26 to 27.5 range. If they're a bit over, they could be a bit hot, but you know, you can run them a little bit hot now and again. But we're trying to find where we got them nicely balanced out when they're up to running temperature for this track. And then we're going to look at our how the car handles through something like the higher speed portions and through the lower speed portions, and look at what we can do with our aero first of all, and then we're going to take more of a finer tune look at things like the mechanical grip and if we can improve different parts there. So our tires are again on the low side here, are brake temperatures are a bit low as well, so I'm running a bit of an aggressive setup, and I could feel there was already some oversteer, some power oversteer that's coming into effect here. So I might want to think about, when I get to the aero portion, of putting a bit more aero into the back end there. So a fast turn like this, I want there to be maybe just keep that grip. And we're into traffic. That's not so great for us. We've still got those brakes to...
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Oh, that was a little bit dodgy on the mechanical side there. Wow. What's happened to my info? Did I accidentally push something on you guys? Oh. We're at the end of that session already? I thought we'd have enough time in that. We're going to change the session settings out. Yeah, it ended the session faster than I thought. We're going to go back. We're going to quit. So I messed up in my setup here. I need more time. I think we're only going to get a look at what we're going to be doing with tyres. But I've already adjusted the setup a bit, so I actually want to change this up. So 2 times 30 minutes. Qualifying length, that's going to be fine at that. Confirm. So we're looking for more of what you're doing in Enduro here. So again, if I take a look at my setup, my current setup, I would have adjusted some things already. Here you can see there's differences between the front and the back. Yeah. And we're just going to come out here and go straight into it, get that warm-up laps done, and see what the tyres are like there. So drive,
Green light.
limiters on, first gear. Thing to note, of course, is that the pit limiter only works in first gear. If you take it out of first gear, it won't work. Your engine will probably stall out as well. And of course, Spa has got the longest pit lane ever. Yep. Longest pit lane ever. But hey, what could you do? So here we go. Out of the pit. We've got to take it easy because we've got fresh tyres. They're all cold, and the brakes are cold as well. Damage is turned on. Just be mindful of our turn-in points and our braking points and our acceleration points. Just try and keep them all under control, so I'm not making any stupid moves. I want consistency before anything else. Bit of power understeer there. So as I'm coasting in there, I've got plenty of room to play with. I can even push there. That's okay. That high speed part. This sort of medium speed turn, I want to be able to get to the point where I can push my foot down on the accelerator a little and it not spin out on me. I also want that same where I could touch the brakes a little to give me leeway in between where I'm just riding the accelerator a little, pushing the accelerator into a turn a little bit more than I normally would, or if I'm indeed having to brake harder than I normally would. We're just gonna ease off there because we're not at full operating temperatures yet. Got a way to go on that. It wanted to oversteer a bit there. I was a little bit more aggressive into that turn than I normally would be. I broke a little bit later than I normally would. .26. So the front are nice and even. The back is a little colder than the front at the moment. A little less pressure. So we maybe got 2 clicks of pressure higher in the back that might be wanted. But it's changing a little, so we're still not up to full thing. Watch for braking points. Brakes are now up to temperature, so we can afford to push it a little bit more. Tires are a little bit closer to range, but not quite enough yet. Really quite understeery there. Yeah, very understeery there. But one of the points of doing what I'm doing here is build this process up to, we came off the track a bit there, to build this process up so that I can get a good feel for what the car is going to behave like over a total amount of a race, from both the point of view of the tires and the aero setup, to see if things like aero setup is going to suit me or not. Hey Tantrum, how you doing? Sorry, I didn't hear you there. I'm gonna have to turn you guys' volume up, I tell you. I didn't need to thing there really, braking, that was a bad one. We're gonna go for one more lap because these tyre temperatures are still a little bit on the low side. Hey Gopher. How you doing? Welcome to the channel. So yeah, again, reference points, keeping an eye on them. Yeah, Gran Turismo doesn't here in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It does a lot of calculations, including the body flex of the car as well has also been added into this. So you've got your temperatures of tires, temperatures of brakes, differences between the tire walls and their wear, the track wear, track conditions and temperatures. You've also got differences in how the damage accumulates and how that's affected by fuel, ride heights, all of your suspension geometry. All of that is taken in here. So it's a very complicated simulation that they're trying to build here. And one of the things that I think I like about this as a game is just how detailed they've got with that. So at the moment you can see I'm riding these tires and they're still only about 26.4, 26.5, and those backs are at 26.2. When we go into the pit, we're going to hire them all by about 1 psi. We're going to hire all of them by about 1 psi. I think that's a good level. And we want to learn where our tracks points are. So there's our board there. I hope I slowed down enough there. So we're going to pull in just as we would. Okay. I'm going to say return to garage. Setup. Take our current setup. You want to increase this by 1 psi, so we're going for 26.6. And on the rear, we're going to go 25.8. .8 here as well. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do first of all, because my tyre pressures were a little lower than I wanted. I want them to be around about 27.5 operating temperature all around. Okay, let's go. Oh, damn it. I need to remember, we're going to press return to garage. I need to remember each time I do this in the garage, fuel strategy, tire set, 1. So now when I look at my tires, they'll all be, they should hopefully always be on tire set 1. I have to remember that. There goes my bit on the realism. Okay, let's go here. Oh, how are you doing, by the way, Tantrum? You having a good day? Longest pit lane in the world. Wow, why did I choose it? I know why I chose Spa, because I do like Spa. Right, because I've got a limited set of tyres, and I need to find out what the tyre wear is going to be like over an entire weekend. Because I'm doing this to set up as a real race, I want to find out, get the right tyre temperatures, the right tyre pressures, and then get the balance of the car up more. So each time I work on something at the moment, I'm going to be working on one tyre set. So I want to make sure that I've got just the one tyre set I'm working on at first, so that I know how it's going to behave and know what it's going to do with the different setups there. So we've got cold brakes at the moment, can feel that. And tyres are actually in a not a great bit there because right. So when you get these tyres up to the right sort of pressures and temperatures, so we got understeer. That's okay. That is only a tiny bit of oversteer there. So I want to make it so that the car is comfortable for my driving style, so that I have leeway in the corners for when I need to ask for that little bit extra of the car, that it can give me it. And that when I want it to hold back that little bit extra, that I can, so that when I'm in the middle of a bit of a battle, that I don't immediately smack into somebody or lose it in the corners because I had to deal with something from somebody else. And I need the car to be reliable on the balance so that I can feel it and catch it, but drive as close to the edge as I possibly can. Oh.
Some light damage at the rear of the car.
And there's some damage. And as you can see, there's some light damage on the back of the car there now. Oops. Come on. Okay. Well, the tyres are going to be dirty now. But the temperatures are kind of different. Temperatures are now up into the 27s at least. I've got a bit of a straying feeling here. Whoa! Massive loss of grip. Massive loss of grip there. Whoa! So my rears have actually heated up a lot more than my front tyres, which is why it's going everywhere. So I've got to lower the pressure on that rear tire there, because that is just going everywhere. That rear left is just going off everywhere. Whoa! Whoa! See, this is... Oh. This is not what we want happening. Right. Wait for them to come round. Another one. Like I say, we're going to do this the real well. Yeah, it did. So what's happening here is I'm feeling the rear tires are just slipping away. They've got no grip whatsoever. Go on. I put anything on the brakes on and they are just slipping like nobody's business. Oh, I can't touch anything with them there. Go on, buddy. Go. I'm off the track. Go. Right. Hobbling back into the pits. Yeah, these are totally wrong. We're going to return to the garage there. Because that's me hobbling back here, and that is just ridiculous. So if we take a look at the setup. Yes. I was barely touching the gas and boom, around we went. So let's see what's happening here. Uh, 26, 26, 25. Let's go up to 25. So we're going to turn this down. I think 5 points. Slightly higher on that side as well. Yeah, the Oculus Link does its job well. Obviously for this title, there's still a lot of optimization that needs to be done for VR, really, in terms of graphics engine. So the FPS is quite low. They need to sort more on the CPU loading side and stuff like that out to get the most out of this game for VR. Right, so I've just put the PSI on these down by 5 points. We're going to try that again. Remember, we're still on this same tire set. See what happens when I get back out there with that tire set. Okay, we ready? Let's enable that. And don't forget to look at the beautiful balloon. It's not a concern, actually. You know, at the moment, I don't think I'd be looking to invest yet, because I obviously invested a lot in the 2000 series. So if the 3000 series comes out really soon, the rumored 3000 series, because there hasn't been anything out of Nvidia saying they are going to refresh yet. Okay, we're past the pit. Let's see if we can't what we can do here. You know, the part of the problem is that it's not the graphics card that's actually under stress so much. The problem is that it's actually the CPU that is actually under the bigger amount of stress. Yeah, you should be able to. As long as you've got the right cables and everything else to use, you should be able to. Results may vary. It very much depends on what you're playing there. 50 cards are always a bit of a... Nah. It's VR ready-ish. But I wouldn't expect, like, the best of the best with that graphics card. Okay. The back end hasn't immediately just kicked out on me. So let's see what we're doing here. Okay. 27.1, 26.5s. Okay, we're in at least my operating range of temperatures. I still wouldn't go with Ryzen myself with AMDs. There's not too much of performance gain still on the CPU side in current gen. Upcoming gen, there may be more there. I'm talking about in terms of VR. So 50 series cards are not usually the highest of specs. So don't expect to whack everything up to maximum. but there's a lot you should still be able to play. On that card, I wouldn't recommend, you know, in particular, this particular game, for instance, because it's very demanding. But the original Assetto Corsa, Project Cars 2, race room experience, things like that, definitely you should be able to play them with some decent results with that card. Still, again, like I say, not maximum settings, but reasonable enough to be going on with. Right, so that's made that a lot more handleable. Let's try and push this a little bit more. You're welcome, dude. And of course, if you are going to play the original Assetto Corsa, remember to perhaps use Mod Manager, because that makes that game just unbelievable what you can do with it. Where's the other car? I am thinking about what I am going to do. I am actually very impressed with the Quest and what it is capable of doing. I am frankly shocked, but its comfort levels are not, as people are aware, the best. Right, so now our tires are doing okay. My brakes at the back are still cold. There we go, the brakes at the back are now warmed up. Tire temperatures, so I think I'm happy with running the tire temperatures a bit lower at the back. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I would go for an Index or a Rift S. Okay, we got a pit in on the next one. I'm happy with how the tyre temperatures was running out here. I think it's going to move us on to the next section, in which I'm going to look at the aero, because here I've got understeer if I put my foot on the gas a bit, and I want to get away from the understeer a bit. I actually want the nose to turn in a little bit on those type of corners. So we're going to have a look next at our aero, because the tires seem reasonable to me. They're the grip is pretty damn substantial. I thought the tyres at the back running hotter would be good, but it really seems to damage how I was dealing with the car. Whereas the tyres at this point are actually playing quite nice. So we're going to come into the pit, making sure we know where our braking point is. There we go. Right.
Session is now over.
So our practice session is over. We've come into the pits. Hello, we've stopped. Okay. So we can see there that I'm not doing that great. I'm down in 18th, but I did push myself outside my limits there. We've got our tyre pressures looked at. That's important. We stepped too far over the bounds and it punished me a lot. I do think there's a load of understeer, so we can actually take a look at understeer under acceleration. So I actually want the front to bite a little bit more rather than understeer where it is. So as I come past that apex point, if I've put a little bit of gas in or a bit of brake on or things like that, I don't want it to understeer. I actually want it to oversteer and turn in a little bit more than it is. So we're going to try and address that. Okay. So we're going to go to our setup. We're going to take a look again at our fuel strategy. Tyre set 1. Keeping to that same tyre set. We're going to take a look at our aero and see what's going on there. So we can see that we've got ride height at the front and the rear. Ride height at the front can make a huge amount of difference to aerodynamics in total. So we're just going to take the front ride height down a little and get that to hunker down into the ground a little and sort of like produce that wedge shape that's just going to push the back, you know, the front of the car down a bit more, and the back's going to be riding up a little bit higher. So we're just going to do that first of all. So we're just going to take one stop off the front, 1 mil off the front, and we're going to continually do this until it fills into a space where it's either too much or and then pull it back, and we'll see if we do that, and then the rear maybe. So the front is probably more. Actually, we're going to live dangerously. I'm going to take 2 steps there, and I'm going to leave the rear where it is. Okay, so this should hopefully point the car down, all the aero down a bit, produce a bit more downforce onto the front of the car. Well, they have to do it early, otherwise it just would feel like a tacked on thing. It's better that they have done it early, and I know it's not great as in there is so much optimization, and not just for VR, people on like triple screen formats and even on single screen say this is hungry, very hungry game when it comes to the graphics and the optimization. And that's because it's got a huge amount going on in terms of the simulation and the engine and the graphics overall. On my setup, if I was to run this as a flat screen game, it would just look amazing. But of course, running it in VR has its own prospects, and at different points of its development, they have actually got to points where it was running really, really smoothly and looked absolutely incredible in a headset. And then some differences have happened in changing over game engines, and different bits and drivers have happened. So it all adds on top of each other. But let's move on. Next session. Okay, so we've got our setup is all there. We've changed our bit on the aero. I'm actually going to hit, we're going to leave it as it was. So I've creeped the ride height for the aero down a little. We've left the rear where it is, and then we'll see where it is there. We still want to be running tire set 1. You can see there is the conditions on here. There's a light flat spot. We've got the wear on the tires as well. So we've got not too bad at the front. The back is a bit more worn there, but that's okay. Okay.
Green light. Give it all you can.
We're still on dry 1, as you can see there, from our tyres. We was happy with that. We've added a bit of aero because in the corners I was getting a lot of understeer under some of those sort of medium speed corners, and I want to get it where I can put my foot on the gas a little bit and feel the front come in a little bit. I have been a tiny bit more aggressive than maybe I should because I've put the front down by 2 stops. But there's quite a good range in this car for making changes, and where there's a bigger range you can maybe get away with putting a little bit more, but we're going to be careful-ish. Right, once again we're out past that pit limiter. We need to get everything up to race speeds and race temperatures. So we've got cold brakes, cold tyres. Remembering our reference points, where we're going to be speeding up, where we're going to be slowing down. Oh, I can already feel the bite more. Just that tiny bit of difference to the aero at the front of the car can make big differences. So, oh no, too ambitious yet, not enough grip. Yeah, that felt a little bit better. Is it going to oversteer when I try this? We can maybe push it a bit more. It's still got quite a bit of understeer. We'll see as I push it a little bit more throughout the corners. And I shouldn't have done that because the tyres and the brakes was still cold. That's got them up to temperature though. Oh. And see the front tyres are warming up a little bit more now. They're still rather in line. Front's a little bit warmer than I would like really. Rears are behaving sort of like where I'd expect. First run through here with warm tyres. That's oh, that was nice. That was nice. Ooh. Ooh. Liked that. Still got a slight bit of understeer when I go on the power. So we've still got more understeer there. So I think I can still lower that front down a little bit more. It's feeling quite good though. The back end felt like it could slip away easy there though. Yeah, that is well behaved. See how it behaves on the higher speed? If I turn in without lifting? Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We'll see if it's going to misbehave too much. I'll try and over push it a little bit on this next corner. Still a little under. I think we can push that front down a little bit more. We're up to temperature. We're still on dry one. We're going to pull it into the pits again on this next one. Oh yeah, I like that. That's really good. Our temperatures for those rear brakes is still really cold compared to what the front brakes are doing. We may want to change the air ducts a bit. It's pretty manageable. That's helping it turn in a little bit quicker. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to put the front down a little bit more. Oh, off we go. That is a shame. That felt, this is feeling a little bit better under power. It's not quite as understeery. I could get a little bit more just to maybe force the oversteer a little bit more. But generally speaking, this is feeling really good. So yeah, we're going to come into the pit so that we kind of get used to stopping that as we would in an actual race, because, you know, though obviously I should be going down there a lot more than just coming straight through here, but there's no cars here. Okay, so we're going to say return to garage. I'm not in the need for it, though I think I would like to have on, but unfortunately the UK prices I'm in principle a little bit wary of, because the UK price, the EU UK price is over the top of what the American price is. You're paying at least £10 over the top of the dollar price. And I worked out that to import one from America with all the taxes on top, the extra postage that includes, the extra import duties and everything else like that, works out somewhere between 74 to 78 pounds. And they are charging £89. So to me, that is a rip-off. If it's $79 in the US, it should not be £89 here in the UK, or 89 euros in Europe. It shouldn't be. That to me is a rip-off. I wanted to do setup. Setup. So we're going to change our setup. We're going to make sure that we're still on our tire set 1. Yeah. We're going to look at our aero again. Exactly. I mean, 1-for-1 is too expensive anyway. I expect there to maybe be a bit of a premium, but there. Again, because there is a lot of changes that could be done here, I'm going to push that down by 2 mil again. So we're 64 now, instead of, what was it, 66 mil at the start. So I'm pushing that front down a little there. If I wanted to, I could do the opposite and push the rear up. But I'm going to pull the front down because that's usually more effective. The brake ducts here are full. I don't know which way is open or closed, but I feel like the brake ducts are basically letting airflow in through the brakes, and at the moment they're still cold at the rear. So we're going to push the brake ducts closed. I think more is closed. I hope. We'll find out, and that'll hopefully help, because those the brake discs at the front are actually still running. Back are still running a little bit cold, so we want them to be the right sort of heat. Right. back to drive. We want to drink first. We're drinking water. And I've got to keep an eye out for the real world time. Right, we're going to get out there, see how this does, and then that's going to be it for today. Because after this, of course, we have the VR link with gamer tag, 7 degrees of gaming, and of course, the legend that is our Lincoln Clay. Right, let's do this. Should be an interesting discussion with my fellow excellent. It is a great show to be a part of. I'm very thankful to be a part of that show as well. It's a good, I think it's a good dynamic show. Love interacting with everybody in the chat. Good mix of opinions between the 4 of us. And we cover different areas, which I think is very important as well with VR. It's not just straight up VR, it's parts of VR and part of the industry and gaming industry that interest us, and hopefully is a good interest to you guys out there on the chat. Of course, at the moment we're just going to want to get these temperatures up. Hopefully we can get some more warmth into there, but of course we are seeing already some degradation on the tires here, so I'm have to be a bit more careful. I'm not too worried about my lap deltas or anything else like that, as long as I keep things consistent on the track to where I feel like oh, now it's starting to bite. Oops. Thank you, guys. Yes. So there was a bit of bite there, a bit more bite than I was expecting. Oh, that's starting to feel a bit more active. Woohoo! Oh yeah, that's really. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yes, there he is. Right, let's see what it does here. Ooh.
Light damage on the right.
Oh, that's not going to be good. Oh, I can feel that. The car is limping now. Look at that. I broke my car. I've severely broken my car. So we're going to head it back into the pits. It's a shame, I was enjoying that. I pushed it a little bit too hard. But the setup was starting to go the right way. That was me pushing it a little bit too further than I should have. I wonder how bad I've damaged the car. Oh dear. So the steering geometry is completely messed up now from that crash. And that's why this one is a simulation and not a game. Yes, I have damage turned up to 100%, mate. So, we're not going to be able to see it from here. Okay, limiter is on. But basically, yeah, there'll be some damage there. Right, so controls are locked there, 1 minute 45. We're going to go and tell it to return to garage. We're going to go to my setup. I'm going to click current setup because I'm actually quite happy with how that was going. We are going to save my load here. And we're going to see about coming back and doing some of this tomorrow. Although I may hopefully be a lot earlier than we are today. Though it depends because tomorrow is my birthday and hopefully I should be getting some gloves. Some driving gloves to test out. Which will help me with some longer games. I know that when I tried playing some other games with the steering wheel for the longer sessions, some of the cars, the amount of pressure you can get can really put a lot of fatigue into your hands, so you want that extra grip. Excellent. So thank you everybody who's come in and commented. Please, of course, leave a like, ask questions. But the important thing that I want to draw here as conclusions is this game has got so much detail and they're putting so much work into the underlying simulator factor of this game. And it's part of that, I think, that actually makes me come back to this game again and again. Even though it does have its faults, as I've said, the graphics performance is well noted as somewhere where it needs to be worked on. The overall performance for CPU performance and graphics performance, this game needs work on. But one of the things they are being really successful with is making cars feel like they're real, getting feedback in there and learning to understand how car setup and the feedback we can get from the car and how closely that relates to the real world data that sits behind all this to make it work, and the intricacy they've put in that really does make me feel a lot closer to the car. Like, I can understand that when a car is outside of the operating outside of its operating range, or where I've made a mistake and pushed the car too far and it's given me the feedback and I've been able to catch that and different things like that, is so important on making me feel that I am driving this car. And I think that's what they're doing really, really exceptionally well with this GT3 cars in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It is honestly one of the reasons why I keep on coming back to it again and again and again, is because I think they are really nailing that feeling of driving a real car, the complexities that are in there for driving a real car. But on that note, it's going to be bye from me for now. I will see whoever's coming along to the VR Link, which is on Sundays on Gamertag's channel. You can find a link to Gamertag in my main channel, up on the other channels there, the featured channels. And every Sunday, 7 o'clock, we have the VR Link, which is myself, Gamertag, 7 Degrees of Gaming, and Lincoln Clay. So yeah, come and join us for that. And thank you everybody who joins this evening. And just remember, oh, I need to see something there. I know. Just remember to keep it nice and frosty on the racetrack. Change one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Concentrate on one thing at a time, and that makes it good. And, you know, subscribe. Get me to that 1,000K. That 1,000 subscribers. That'd be brilliant. That'd be a great birthday gift. And also watch other videos up there, and there's another one across up there somewhere. So take care. See you all soon.